I can't take you to Christmas. My ex will be there and it'll be uncomfortable. Hook. Can you imagine planning the most perfect Christmas proposal, with a ring hidden away and thoughtful gifts for your future in-laws, only to have your girlfriend dump you 3 days before for another man? But here's the kicker. She looked me dead in the eye and said she was doing me a favor. What the hell happened next was a whirlwind of betrayal, public humiliation, and eventually, the sweetest kind of victory. The story, alright, so Christmas 2022. My best friend, Liam, told me this whole mess deserved to be Reddit gold, and honestly, he wasn't wrong. I'm Sam, 27, living in Ohio, doing the project management thing. Stable job, my own place, a paid-off Silverado I babied like my firstborn. Not exactly an adrenaline junkie's life, but I was comfortable. Happy even. After a string of disastrous relationships where being too serious was apparently worse than being a perpetual man-child, I'd pretty much given up on dating. I was focusing on work, the gym, and this '87 Camaro I was restoring. Then, summer 2021, my buddy Jake throws a barbecue, and that's where I met Andrea. She was everything I thought I wanted. An art teacher, local elementary school. Her laugh could stop traffic. She wore sundresses that actually fit, and she actually liked that I had my life together. Owned furniture that wasn't from IKEA. Could plan a date that didn't involve splitting an appetizer at Applebee's. For once, someone appreciated the responsible adult thing instead of calling it boring. Dating Andrea felt different. We talked future, real future stuff. She wanted to meet my extended family, joked about moving in, even got excited about the Camaro project. Most girls rolled their eyes when I talked about cars, but Andrea? She'd bring me coffee in the garage, ask questions, even helped me sand rust spots wearing these cute overalls. Her parents, Steve and Grace, were amazing. Steve, a retired firefighter, became like a second father. Taught me to season cast iron, let me help rebuild his '76 Corvette. We'd spend Sundays in his garage, Budweisers in hand, talking football, power tools, life. His garage was a sanctuary, organized like a surgical suite. Grace, her mom, treated me like the son she never had. Sent me home with leftovers, texted me articles, asked my opinion on everything. She even taught me her canning techniques. They adored me. They'd constantly tell Andrea how lucky she was, dropping hints about marriage, talking about future grandkids. I genuinely loved these people. By October 2022, I was ready. I had a $7,500 ring hidden in my sock drawer. The plan was perfect. Christmas dinner at their house, proposed during dessert with both families there. Come November, I went full Christmas movie mode. This was our first serious Christmas, heading for engagement. Had to make it count. I coordinated schedules, made reservations at the Refinery, this fancy steakhouse Andrea mentioned, for Christmas Eve, prime time, best table, city lights view. Called 3 times to secure it, told them it was a special occasion. Then came the gifts. During Thanksgiving, Grace mentioned her grandmother's china pattern once. It took me 3 weeks, hitting antique shops across 2 counties, to track down 4 matching pieces. Steve, her dad, casually mentioned a book on firefighting history. Another week, and I had a first edition. For Andrea, I'd saved for months for this professional art supply set she'd bookmarked. Prismacolor Premiere, 200 pencils, nearly $1,000. I just knew her eyes would light up. I even had backup plans for everything: snow, lost reservations, changing family schedules. Looking back, yeah, maybe I went overboard. But that's how I show I care. I pay attention. I remember. I plan. Then, early December, the wheels started coming off. The first red flag? I showed Andrea the china I found for her mom. I was practically beaming, laying them out like treasure. She barely glanced up from her phone. "Oh yeah, that's nice," she mumbled. Like I'd shown her a grocery receipt. I tried to get a reaction. "Your mom's going to lose her mind." She just hummed, still scrolling Instagram. I brushed it off. Work stress, I figured. Elementary school teachers in December are basically herding candy cane-hyped cats. She'd come over drained, I'd make dinner, she'd vent. The phone obsession, I thought, was just her way of decompressing. Then she started mentioning Jensen. An old college friend moved back to town for some startup. At first, it was innocent. Jensen thinks I should travel more. Jensen says this town is too small for creative people. Whatever. People reconnect. But then it became every conversation. Jensen this, Jensen that. Jensen's creative energy, his travels to 6 countries before 30. He worked for some pretentious coffee company, probably had strong opinions about pour-over techniques, owned more flannel than a lumberjack. Andrea started making comments about never leaving Ohio. I'm not usually the jealous type, but something felt off. She was constantly on her phone, vague answers about her day. Then, on December 15th, when I tried to confirm our Christmas dinner reservations, she hit me with it. Maybe we should keep things flexible this year. Flexible? Just not so structured, more spontaneous. Red flags everywhere. But I still told myself it was holiday stress. Boy, was I wrong. December 22nd. 3 days before Christmas. The atomic bomb. I'm in my living room, doing final gift wrap. Andrea's gifts center stage. Her parents in one pile, mine in another. Total Christmas logistics coordinator. She walks in. That look. The "we need to talk" face. My heart sank. Sam, we need to talk. I'm thinking, okay, schedule adjustment? Maybe we leave an hour earlier? Switch gift exchange order? Nope. She sits down, takes a breath, and drops it. I'm bringing Jensen to Christmas dinner instead of you. I froze. Mid-wrap. The ribbon just fell from my hands, like some cheesy rom-com. I had to ask her to repeat it. My brain couldn't process. What did you just say? She started with a shaky breath. I know this is terrible timing, but Jensen and I have been talking and... God, I could see her rehearsing this. I don't know how to say this without sounding awful. I snapped. Well, you're off to a great start. Try anyway. She plunged on. Things between us have felt so structured. Like we're following some predetermined blueprint instead of just living. With Jensen, everything feels more natural, more alive. I slowly set down the gift I was wrapping. Ironically, it was hers. 3 days before Christmas, I heard myself say, after I've been planning this for months. She whimpered. I know it's cruel timing. I've been trying to find the right moment, but there never was one. Her voice cracked like she was the victim here. You put so much thought into everything. The gifts, the reservations, the way you remember every little thing my family says. It should make me feel loved, but instead, it makes me feel trapped. Trapped? Trapped by someone caring about you? Trapped by someone planning out our future before you decided what you wanted? She started tearing up, pushing through it like she was delivering a speech. Jensen doesn't do that. He lives in the moment. He makes me feel like I can breathe. And then, the real nuke. The one that blew everything apart. And honestly, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, I saw the ring box in your drawer last week. I know what you're planning for Christmas dinner. I froze. You went through my stuff? She stammered, I was looking for a phone charger, and I saw it. Sam, I'm only 25. I'm way too young to get engaged. Can you imagine how awkward it would have been if I had to reject you in front of both families at dinner? I'm actually doing you a favor here. A favor. I just stared at her. A favor? Yes. Can you imagine how humiliating that would have been? My voice was flat, devoid of any emotion. Right. Very thoughtful of you. She was full-on crying now. You're being sarcastic, but I'm genuinely trying to spare your feelings here. Jensen doesn't pressure me about the future. He just wants to enjoy what we have right now. And what about the gifts? The reservations? Her family expecting me? I'll handle my family, she said, dismissive. They'll understand. And honestly, maybe this is for the best. We clearly want different things, Sam. I need someone who doesn't have our entire life mapped out on a spreadsheet. Here's the thing. I could have fought for her. I could have pointed out how happy she seemed about all my planning until Captain Spontaneous showed up. I could have begged her to wait, asked why she was sabotaging everything. But honestly, something in me just snapped. Like when you're in a meeting and someone presents a terrible idea, but you're professional enough not to tell them they're an idiot. I stood up, walked to the coffee table, and gathered all the gifts I'd bought for her family into a neat pile. "Give these to your parents," I said, my voice calm, almost robotic. "They deserve to have Christmas gifts, even if I won't be there to watch them open them." She looked at me bewildered. "Sam, you're making this way harder than it needs to be." "Nah," I replied, "I'm making it exactly as hard as it needs to be." I went to my bedroom, grabbed her overnight bag, the one with her spare clothes, and handed it to her. Then I opened the front door and held it. Can we try to stay friends?" she asked, clutching her bag. I just looked at her. "You made your choice, Andrea. I'm not going to argue about it or help you feel better about screwing me over." More crying. "Not that I made a mistake kind. That this isn't going according to my script kind." "Yeah," I thought, "welcome to the club." After she left, I sat there, staring at the empty couch. For what felt like an eternity, but was probably 10 minutes, my brain was just static. Then it kicked back in. I called Liam. "I need to get out of here." "Dude, what happened? You sound like someone just told you they're making another Matrix sequel." "Andrea dumped me 3 days before Christmas. For Jensen." Dead silence. Then Liam's voice, a mixture of disbelief and fury. "The college douchebag with the man bun who works at that pretentious coffee startup? Are you kidding me right now?" 20 minutes later, I was at Liam's apartment, overnight bag in hand. He had his gaming setup ready, a cooler full of Mountain Dew, like he was preparing for a breakup war room operation. Christmas at Liam's was better than expected. "So let me get this straight," Liam said, booting up Call of Duty. "Princess Spontaneous couldn't handle dating an actual adult, so she traded you for Walmart Ryan Gosling?" "She said I was too structured. That I planned everything too much." Liam snorted. "Yeah, God forbid someone remembers her birthday and doesn't live in his mom's basement eating Hot Pockets." He handed me a controller. "Did you tell her about the ring?" "She found it. In my drawer. Said she was doing me a favor by dumping me before I could propose." Liam paused the game, looked at me, absolutely speechless. "Wait, what the hell? Are you serious?" Her exact words. Liam shook his head. "Bro, I've heard some delusional stuff in my time, but that's Hall of Fame level crazy." He unpaused, immediately got sniped by some 12-year-old. "You know what this means, right? You just dodged a bullet the size of the Death Star. Imagine if you'd married someone who thinks caring about her is a character flaw." His place was a bachelor pad museum, massive TV, gaming chairs, enough consoles to stock a Best Buy. His kitchen was a microwave, mini fridge, and coffee maker. Dude had his priorities straight. We spent Christmas Eve gaming and eating pizza rolls, trash-talking random kids online. Every time I started getting in my head, Liam would drop some ridiculous comment about Andrea or crack a joke that made me laugh despite everything. "You know what's going to be hilarious," he said around 2 a.m. "She's gonna spend Christmas explaining to her family why you got replaced by a guy whose biggest accomplishment is probably running a Juice Cleanse Instagram account." That actually made me laugh. Her dad's going to hate him. Dude, Steve's going to eat that pretentious hipster alive. I give it 2 hours before he starts asking Jensen about his 5-year plan just to watch him squirm. Christmas morning, I woke up early, out of habit. Made coffee, went for a long walk. Called my parents. They weren't even surprised about the breakup. Apparently, they'd had reservations about Andrea but didn't want to say anything while I was happy. "She always seemed like she was looking for something else," my mom said. "Like you were just a placeholder." "Thanks for the heads up, Mom." Around noon, my phone started blowing up. First, Andrea. "My mom keeps asking where you are, and I don't know what to tell her." Then, "Jensen is trying his best, but he doesn't understand our family traditions." By evening, the tea set you got my mom made her cry. She said it was the most thoughtful gift she'd ever received. Then her parents started texting me directly. "Steve, Sam, Grace, and I are furious with Andrea for what she did to you. You didn't deserve this garbage. The gifts you got us are incredible, and we're heartbroken you're not here. You'll always be family to us." Grace sent a whole paragraph. "Sweetheart, I don't understand what got into our daughter. You're family to us and always will be. This Jensen boy is rude and arrogant, and we told Andrea exactly how we feel about this whole situation. We love you and we're so sorry. They even sent me pictures. Grace using the tea set, Steve reading his book. Clearly trying to show Andrea what she'd thrown away. Steve's follow-up text included a photo of him giving Jensen the stink eye across the dinner table while the dude tried to explain why he didn't eat meat. Apparently, Captain Spontaneous was also Captain Vegan, which went over about as well as you'd expect with a retired firefighter who considered a meal incomplete without 2 kinds of protein. The final text of the night was from Andrea again. I think I might have made a mistake. Can we please talk after the holidays? I read every message. Started typing responses to all of them. Deleted everything. Put my phone on airplane mode. She made her choice. I wasn't about to help her feel better about it. 2 weeks later, she called me around 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Her voice was raw and desperate, like she'd been crying for hours. Sam, I need to talk to you. Jensen. Jensen left. Okay, I said. And? He said he was just having fun over the holidays and didn't want anything serious. He's going back to Chicago. Her voice cracked. I threw away everything we had for someone who was just messing around. Shocking absolutely no one except you, I replied, cold. What did you expect? You chose the guy who lives in the moment over the guy who planned ahead. Turns out living in the moment means he wasn't planning to stick around. Apparently, Jensen had been pretty upfront about his intentions if she'd bothered to listen. He was in town for 6 weeks to launch a pop-up coffee concept, then heading back to Chicago. She kept calling for weeks after that. Voicemails that got increasingly desperate and pathetic. Her friends started hitting me up too, like some kind of intervention squad. Andrea's really struggling. She misses you so much, Jessica pleaded. She knows she made a huge mistake. Then Madison. She's been crying every day since New Year's. Can't you just talk to her? She needs closure. You're being so cruel. Meanwhile, Liam was sending me screenshots of her Instagram posts with commentary like, damn, someone discovered the deep quote section on Pinterest, or, is this the same chick who said you were suffocating her? Her social media became this cringe fest of sad quotes about realizing what you had when it's gone, and pictures of herself looking contemplative in coffee shops. Classic pick-me energy that had Liam and me cracking up. The best part? Liam actually commented on one of her feeling lost and alone in this big world posts with, maybe try a GPS and a dating app. I nearly choked on my drink. By March, the calls finally stopped. Heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back in with her parents and started therapy. Honestly, good for her. Hope she figured out whatever was broken inside that made her blow up her life. Meanwhile, I threw myself into actually living instead of just planning to live. I started taking photography classes, which led to solo trips around Ohio, hitting state parks and small towns. I hit the gym more often. My project management skills, which Andrea found suffocating, were getting me promoted. Turns out being organized and thinking ahead are valuable traits in the real world. The promotion came with a nice raise and my own office with actual windows. But the real win? I finally pulled the trigger on something I'd wanted for years. A 2018 Harley Sportster. It was a bit beat up, but had good bones. I spent my weekends in Liam's garage, tearing it down and rebuilding it piece by piece. You know what they call a motorcycle that won't start? Liam said one Saturday. A really expensive paperweight with trust issues. Kind of like your dating life, but louder. Liam with his lame jokes. There's something therapeutic about working with your hands, you know? Every time I fired up that engine, I felt like I was reclaiming something Andrea had tried to take from me, the confidence to be myself. I also started hanging out with the boys more often. We'd hit up a sports bar, play pool, watch March Madness. It felt good to just be around people who didn't overthink everything or analyze my personality for character flaws. That's when I met Celeste, through a hiking group I'd joined. She was the complete opposite of Andrea in every way that mattered. Where Andrea was impulsive and flighty, Celeste was thoughtful and grounded. Where Andrea was always looking for the next adventure, Celeste appreciated building something solid. Most importantly, she actually liked the stuff about me that Andrea found overwhelming. I love how you remember things, she told me on our third date. It makes me feel like I actually matter to you. Celeste chose a career helping people, grew up on a farm, knew how to fix things. understood the value of hard work and planning. She could back up a truck, change a tire, and cook a meal that didn't come from a box. Plus, she thought the Harley was badass and wanted to learn to ride. Our first Christmas together. She was genuinely excited about doing it right. "I want to meet your family, and I want you to meet mine," she said while we were picking out a tree. "My family does everything last minute, and I've always wanted to experience what it's like when someone actually plans ahead." "Are you sure?" I teased. "I tend to go overboard with holiday planning." She laughed and kissed me. "Promise me you will." We were at Target buying decorations when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hey, it's Andrea." "I know it's been a while, but I wanted to reach out. I'm doing much better now, and I was hoping we could talk. Maybe grab coffee and catch up." I showed Celeste the message. She read it, then looked at me. "Do you want to respond?" I thought about it for exactly 2 seconds. Nope. Deleted it and went back to debating between silver and gold garland. "Good choice," Celeste said. "The gold will look better with your couch anyway." Then came the holiday party ambush. Our mutual friend Jake throws this holiday party every year. Celeste and I showed up fashionably late. I was feeling good about life. And then I saw her across the room. Andrea, standing by the punch bowl, looking smaller than I remembered, checking her phone every 30 seconds like she was waiting for an Uber. Celeste spotted her immediately. "Is that her?" "Yep," I said. "And she looks about as lost as I expected." I was talking to Jake about his new job when I felt someone approach from behind. I turned around, and there was Andrea, with this forced smile, holding her drink like a shield. "Sam," she chirped, "I didn't know you'd be here tonight. You look really good. Healthy." I put my arm around Celeste's waist. "Hey, Andrea. This is Celeste, my girlfriend." Celeste immediately extended her hand, a genuine smile on her face. "Celeste, I know Sam mentioned you two had history. It's nice to meet you." I watched Andrea completely ignore Celeste's outstretched hand, looking her up and down instead. "Right, Celeste." The way she said it sounded like she was tasting something bitter. She turned back to me. "I've been thinking about us lately," Andrea said, her voice tightening. "About what we had together. All those plans we made." "That was a long time ago, Andrea," I said, firm. "I've moved on." "But don't you miss it? The way we used to be? The way you used to plan everything for us?" She was looking directly at me, completely cutting Celeste out of the conversation. Celeste, ever poised, stepped in. "Oh, Sam's been amazing. He's working with my mom to perfect her grandmother's prime rib recipe for Christmas dinner, and he found the most incredible gifts for my nieces and nephews. I honestly don't know how he keeps track of what they all love, but it's one of the things I adore about him." Andrea's face went through about 5 different emotions: surprise, anger, jealousy, rage, before settling on pure venom. "How nice for you," she said to Celeste, a fake, sweet voice dripping sarcasm. "It's so easy to appreciate someone when you haven't had to deal with their obsessive need to control everything yet. Give it time." Celeste's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me?" "Please," Andrea said, her composure completely cracking as she turned back to me. "Can we just talk privately? Without her?" "No," I interrupted. "Have a good time, Andrea." "You can't be serious right now," she shrieked, tears welling up. "You're really going to choose her over what we had?" "I already did," I said, my voice steady, 13 months ago, when you made the choice for me. "But I know now that I made a mistake. I was young and scared and stupid." Her voice was getting louder, head started to turn. "You can't just replace me with some random girl." As Celeste and I started walking toward the exit, I turned back one last time. "Next time you find someone who plans Christmas around you," I said, "maybe don't wait until 3 days before to tell them they're uninvited to their own proposal." That's when she completely lost it. "Are you serious right now?" she screamed across the party, loud enough to stop every conversation. "You're just going to walk away after everything we had?" The whole party went dead silent. Celeste squeezed my hand, and we kept walking. But Andrea wasn't done making a scene. "She doesn't even know you like I do. She's just some rebound who'll never understand what we had." Her friends, Jessica and Madison, came rushing over, trying to grab her arms and drag her toward the door. "Andrea, stop. You're making a scene," Jessica hissed. "I don't care," Andrea wailed. He's making a huge mistake, and everyone here knows it. As they were physically dragging her toward the exit, Madison shot us this dirty look over her shoulder and said, loud enough for half the party to hear, "Wow, real classy, Sam. Bringing this random girl just to hurt Andrea. You actually downgraded, in case no one told you." Celeste squeezed my hand tighter as we walked to my truck. "Well," she said, a slight smile on her face that was more dramatic than I expected. "For me, or for her?" "Definitely for her," Celeste replied. She looked like she was watching her entire future walk away. "Maybe she was," I said, "but that's not my problem anymore." The rest of the party was actually great once the drama cleared out. We made plans for New Year's Eve, talked about vacation destinations, just enjoyed being with someone who actually wanted to be there. Fast forward to summer, and honestly, life was better than I could have imagined. The Harley restoration was complete. Liam and I had turned that beat-up Sportster into something that belonged in a magazine. Every Saturday, we'd cruise around Ohio, hitting up small towns and dive bars, just enjoying the freedom. "You know what's funny?" Liam said one weekend as we were grabbing lunch. "A year ago, you were planning Christmas dinner with Crazy, and now you're out here living like a Springsteen song." Character development, bro. Celeste had moved into my place around April, and it was seamless. The girl could cook like she went to culinary school. Actually wanted to hit the gym with me. And here's the crazy part. She never complained when I disappeared to work on the bike or hang with the boys. She'd just smile and say, "Have fun, babe." Then post some cute story about loving to watch me in my element. Her Instagram was basically a shrine to our relationship, but in a good way. Pictures of us hiking, me working on the Harley, us cooking together. She'd caption them with stuff like, "Watching this man follow his passions makes me fall in love all over again." And her friends would comment about how lucky she was to find someone who had his life together. That's when things got weird again. Turns out Andrea had been stalking our social media from fake accounts for months. Celeste started getting strange messages from random profiles with no photos. Nothing directly threatening, just passive-aggressive stuff like, "Enjoy it while it lasts," and "Some people just steal other people's happiness instead of finding their own." The fake accounts were amateur hour, obviously created just to spy on us. One account messaged Celeste pretending to be concerned about my history with commitment issues and suggesting she ask Sam about what really happened with his ex. Celeste screenshotted everything and showed me, laughing about how pathetic the whole thing was. Then Andrea escalated to real-world crazy. Started showing up at my work. Just standing in the parking lot, staring at the building like some rejected rom-com protagonist. Security had to escort her off company property twice. She called my coworkers, asking them to talk sense into me about making a huge mistake. Our office building has security cameras everywhere, so we had footage of her sitting in her car for hours, just watching the entrance. Building security started recognizing her vehicle and would call me whenever she showed up. My boss asked if I needed time off to deal with a personal situation, which was embarrassing as hell. Here I am trying to maintain a professional reputation while my crazy ex is turning my workplace into her surveillance headquarters. She even tried calling Liam. "Dude, your psycho ex called me last night. He told me while we were working on his car. Wanted me to convince you that Celeste's not right for you, and you're making a terrible decision." "What did you say?" I asked. Liam grinned. "I told her the only terrible decision was her showing up at your job like some kind of discount stalker. Oh, and I told her that at least Celeste doesn't need a restraining order to understand boundaries." The final straw came when she started harassing Celeste online, using those fake Instagram accounts to leave comments on our engagement photos, calling Celeste a placeholder and a rebound. Her flying monkeys, Jessica and Madison, joined in, commenting with crying emojis and "this won't last" messages like a bunch of middle schoolers. Then she started leaving gifts on my porch. It was pathetic. White roses with notes like "remembering what we had" and "some love never dies." Celeste was getting genuinely freaked out, and, honestly, so was I. Time to lawyer up. We got a restraining order that basically told her to stay 500 feet away from me, Celeste, my house, my job, and anywhere we might reasonably be expected to exist. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. One Friday night in late February 2024, we're all at my place. Me, Celeste, and Liam, having an epic Mario Kart tournament. Celeste was absolutely destroying us, talking trash like she was born for competitive gaming. That's when we heard the pounding on my front door. Sam, I know you're in there. Andrea, drunk as hell, from the sound of it. Celeste is not better than me. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. I was reaching for my phone to call the cops when Liam grabbed my intercom system. Hold up. Let me handle this. I've been waiting for this moment. He keyed the intercom. Yo, Andrea, it's Liam. Remember me? Your ex's best friend who warned him about you from day one. Liam, get Sam out here right now, she slurred. Nah, Liam said, a smug grin on his face. Sam's busy being happy. But hey, thanks for proving my point about you being completely unhinged. I'm not leaving until he talks to me, she screamed. Cool, Liam drawled. Well, the cops should be here in about 5 minutes, so you might want to work on your cardio. Unless orange jumpsuits are your thing. Celeste was filming the whole exchange on her phone, partly for evidence, partly because Liam's roasting session was absolutely legendary. Oh, and Andrea, Liam continued, clearly enjoying himself. Next time you want to drunk dial someone at midnight, maybe try ordering pizza instead. At least then someone would actually want to deliver to your address. By the time the police showed up, she was sitting on my porch steps, sobbing and rambling incoherently about how she just wanted to talk and explain everything. They arrested her for violating the restraining order, public intoxication, and disturbing the peace. As they were loading her into the cruiser, she was screaming about how Celeste stole her life and how I used to be different. The neighbors were all outside watching this train wreck unfold like it was dinner theater. Liam looked at us as the police car drove away and said, well, that was loud. Anyone want pizza? I never heard from her again after that night. Heard through the grapevine she moved to Portland and started fresh somewhere else. I hope she figured out whatever was broken inside that made her think destroying someone else's happiness would fix her own problems. Celeste and I are getting married this coming summer. I proposed with the same ring I bought for Andrea, but this time, it's for someone who actually deserved it. Liam's my best man, and his speech will probably include a 5-minute roast of my questionable taste in ex-girlfriends that'll have the entire wedding cracking up. My restored Harley will be our getaway vehicle. Celeste in her wedding dress, riding behind me on a motorcycle, will probably be the coolest moment of my existence. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well, finding someone who genuinely appreciates the same things about you, and watching the people who dismissed you completely unravel. Call to action. This whole journey was wild, and honestly, a lot to process. Have any of you ever been blindsided like this? Or found that your flaws were actually strengths to the right person? Drop your stories in the comments below. I'd really love to hear them.